People in Texas are coping with record-setting rain. Severe storms moved through the state late last night into this morning, leaving more than 80,000 people without power. Meanwhile, in California, the complete opposite. Residents are begging for rain as the severe drought continues for the third straight year. Good evening, I'm Katie Bavoso. Chris Pacini is off tonight. Heavy rains or lack thereof have been the topic of conversation across the United States. Here in Maine, windy, dry conditions have sparked several wildfires over the weekend. We have team coverage tonight. Discussing the effects of these severe particular conditions. Let's start out with the facts. Steve?
It's been a dry spring. I think most people are aware of that. You see somebody running their lawnmower, especially about a week or so ago. You don't see much grass, but you see a lot of dust being released into the air. Look like any relief in sight for those folks looking for more rain in the region. Katie?
All right, thank you, Steve. Well, the scorching sun, high heat, and dry weather are causing problems for farmers. So far this season, we've only gotten about 3.5 inches of rain. That's 2 inches less than last spring. Strawberry season is in full bloom, and with the lack of water, farmers say their crops could start shriveling up. News Center's Caitlin Channa is in Corinth at Tate's Strawberry Farm. Caitlin?
Katie, I'm standing in 14 acres of strawberry, but the season is off to a rocky start. Taking care of, and he hopes in the next few days to start planting pumpkin seeds along with squash. Back to you.
All right, Caitlin, thank you very much. Two campers from Newport are headed home after spending the night in the woods in Elliotsville. Wardens say the couple was walking back to their car yesterday afternoon with a group of other hikers. That's when the pair took a wrong trail and became separated. Family and friends in the group searched for the two, but had no luck. The Maine Warden Service was called, and the group brought the search team personal items for dogs to track the couple's scent. The campers were found 2 miles from the campsite almost 24 hours later. Wardens are now reminding other hikers to stay on marked trails. The couple says they were lucky to find a cabin to stay in overnight and won't separate themselves on the next hike.
There's no sense running out through the dark last night anyways, so we would have got lost even further. So I just regrouped this morning and we found our way up here.
Stay on the trail. Don't take side trails. Don't try to take shortcuts. When you're hiking in a group, stay together. And because more people together is more minds together, so it's harder to get lost.
Wardens also say it's a good idea to carry a GPS or satellite tracker when you're hiking because many areas in Maine don't have cell phone service. Detectives from the Maine State Police took the stand today in the murder trial of an Ellsworth man. 31-year-old Christopher SAENZ is accused of killing his wife Hillary back in 2013. Police say SAENZ beat Hillary because he thought she was having an affair. Today, detectives from the Maine State Police took the stand, testifying what they saw at the residence, along with cell phone records. News Center's Kayla Bennett has been following the trial and joins us now with more. Kayla?
Katie, when Hillary SAENZ fell to the ground, Christopher SAENZ told police she hit her head on the bed. But when Detective Micah Perkins took the stand today, he said there was no headboard or footboard on the bed. The defense disagreed, but the judge ruled that the recording be heard in court. Katie?
Okay, thank you, Kayla Bennett. Police are saying 2 people were shot on 4th Street in Portland at DeBlock Studios around midnight Monday, and 1 has died. The person killed has been identified as 19-year-old Trey John Arsenault. He died this morning at Maine Medical Center. Another man who's 20 years old is still in the hospital, and he's expected to survive. Police do believe there may have been more than one attacker and that the victims knew them, at least as acquaintances. Police say there were between 7 and 11 people in the recording studio at the time of the shooting or just before, but would not say whether the shooter or shooters were in the studio with them or came in and left after the shooting. Acting Police Chief Vern Malik stresses this is not a random attack.
The last murder that we had in Portland was back in November of 2014. Prior to that, it had been 2 years since we'd had a murder. Portland's a very safe city. for any city, especially a city of our size.
There were also reports of a stabbing at the studio. Police say no one was stabbed, and if it did happen, it's not related to the shooting. Police say they haven't established a motive and no one has been arrested yet. They would not comment on whether they have any suspects or what leads they're following. 3 of Maine's Native American tribes have pulled their tribal representatives out of the Maine legislature. They claim state government is blocking the legitimate efforts of the tribes to govern themselves and help their members. The Penobscots, Passamaquoddies, and Micmacs staged a rally outside the State House this morning, shortly after the tribal representatives announced they were going home. Leaders say they're angry about the state denying them proper fishing rights, blocking a proposal to regulate violence against women, and even preventing them from having a casino. The Speaker of the House says he was surprised by today's move, but the tribal chief says calling the representatives home is the first step in defining a new relationship with state government.
What our declaration, joint declaration says is that we do not recognize the state's governor, the legislature, its courts to regulate our sovereignty, and that's not going to happen anymore. So we're going to self-govern. We understand that there may be some hard days ahead and maybe you know, some fierce fights with the state.
I hope to have conversations with tribal representatives to make sure that they understand, as a presiding officer, I want them there, we need them there, and I hope we get them back there.
Speaker of the House Mark Eves said he thinks the recent decision by Governor LePage may have been the last straw. In March, the governor withdrew an executive order he issued 4 years ago about a special relationship between the state and the tribes. In a statement from his office today, the governor says the state does not recognize the sovereignty of the tribes, but also says any lands or natural resources owned by the tribes or held in trust are subject to the laws of the state. The tribes have scheduled a news conference for Wednesday to explain their plans. Coming up on News Center at 6, we brought you his story when he was looking for a second chance at life. Now a man from Gray is looking for a third chance. Find out why Rob Cutler needs a new organ transplant after receiving a new heart nearly 20 years ago. 18 years ago, we brought you a story of a 31-year-old man waiting on a heart transplant. Robert Cutler got his donation and slowly returned to his life. But the surgery led to another health crisis. The anti-rejection drugs have wreaked havoc on his kidneys, and now Cutler finds himself waiting once again for a donor. News Center's Amanda Hill has this update.
At 31 years old, with a faulty heart, Rob Cutler had big plans. As they wait to see if life has a third chance in store.
Too stubborn to quit.
In Gray, Amanda Hill, News Center.
Cutler has been out of work since December due to his health complications. His friends have set up a GoFundMe page to help him and his family. You can find a link to that on our website. It was a hot one out there today. Steve McKay will tell us about more warm weather in our forecast up next on News Center at 6.
Hot in spots, kind of cool in other places. We'll break it all down for you coming up next. So, Katie, did you hear the pitter-patter of raindrops this morning as you began your day?
I sure did, and unfortunately when that happens, I always want to go right back to bed.
I hear you.
Try again the next day.
Exactly. Typically when it's raining, people complain to me, of course.
Because it's your fault.
It's my fault, of course. I am the producer of all things weather. But not lately. When it's been raining, people are, well, we need the rain. So it's been kind of a nice break. Let's have a look at the weather numbers for today, Katie. 81 the high in Bangor. If you're looking for cooler air, head to the coast.
The coast is where I want to be.
Yeah, you and a lot of other people, I think.
Sports is up next. Stay with us.